right, now before we get back into the episode, we've got a big announcement to make. We want to show some love to our first ever sponsor, Mykin. That's spelled Mykyn. Mykin is a high-end luxury eyewear brand focused on quality, craftsmanship, and timeless style. These aren't just glasses, y'all. They're statement pieces. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can see I'm wearing an exclusive pair right now. Look at the style. I love the dark frames. Right now, you can get 25% off when you use our code GoodPeople25 at MykynBrand.com. Again, that's GoodPeople25 at MykynBrand.com. If you love Song of the Week, do us a favor, grab a pair. GoodPeople25 for 25% off. Big love to Mykyn for supporting Song of the Week. Let's get into the episode. All right, welcome back to Song of the Week. We have a special episode for you today. I want to introduce our special guest, Nikka Costa. Nikka is a legendary funk, soul, and rock singer. She comes from a legendary musical family, as she is the daughter of Don Costa, who worked with the likes of Frank Sinatra, Paul Anka, Sammy Davis Jr., and Tony Bennett, just to name a few. Throughout her career, Nikka has sang on the White House lawn with Frank Sinatra, traveled the world as a member of a band and a solo artist, and has earned the reputation as one of the most badass performers to ever command a crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Song of the Week featuring the one and only Nikka Costa.
Well, that's
Nikka,
a
how
lot
are
to
you?
live up to.
No, you've already lived up to it.
Thank you. That's so sweet. I love it.
Of course. How you doing today?
I'm good. I am good.
Good.
Just chilling, just ready for this chat. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be
For
here.
sure. Awesome. So Nikka, we've had a lot of artists on our podcast that grew up in musical households. But you grew up in a musical household with someone who was working in the music industry at one of the highest levels at the time. How did that shape your childhood?
Well, yeah, I mean, my dad was a big arranger producer when I was little, of the day. And so my house was always full of musicians and late nights and people in the living room and hanging out. And he had a studio underneath our house, a recording studio. So people were always, in there jamming. And I mean, for me, it was really normal because that's just what my house was. I didn't know anything different. And then obviously my friends had the same, like my dad was best friends with Flip Wilson. He was a really famous comedian of the time. And then, so I hung out with his kids and his house was also lots going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a cool time. It was a crazy time. I mean, I'm a parent now and I don't know. I can't imagine what, I don't know what was going through their heads. but it was fun.
Yeah. No, I bet it was. What type of music did you gravitate to earlier in your life?
Well, I was highly influenced by, who my dad was working with, like if he was, recording like with, Sinatra or whoever at the time, I would just go in and like anyone goes to your parents' work from school and you do, you bring your homework and then, you get a ride home, right? So my dad's work was the recording studio. So he'd be recording, with Frank or with, I mean, just like, I don't even know, so many people. Um, and I would just be doing my homework in the orchestra pit. And it was it was trippy, but it was also really normal. And that was just how we kind of did it. So when I was, there, I was hearing all these greats, singing, and it was a lot of like standards and kind of full orchestras and stuff like that. So jazz and and not jazzy jazz, but like, really good songs and like big lush arrangements and things that really lives kind of in my DNA, and I wasn't even kind of recognizing that it was filtering in, it was just wasn't something I was really like, ooh, I'm gonna study this because I was like, 5 or whatever. Um but that I have a high appreciation for that kind of songwriting and that and that kind of music, and I still listen to that stuff today. And then when I got older, I was influenced by like my brothers and sisters and what they were listening to, and like a lot of Beatles and Led Zeppelin and you know everything in between. And then I started kind of gravitating more towards soul. And I remember when I was going through my mom's like records, like vinyls, and I saw this photo of this cover of this really cool guy, and he had like cornrows and he had like a dashiki on, and he was on the rocks, and it was all browns and cool. And I was like, he looks really cool. And then I was like, oh, Stevie Wonder. I was like, I know that name, Stevie Wonder. Why do I know that name? And then I put on that record. Was it Fulfilling This First Finale or no, it was Talking Book. And
Yeah,
um
Talking Book.
yeah, Talking Book. And when I tell you, it just blew my mind. I loved it so much. I just felt it so hard. And it just looked so cool. And I was just like, oh my God. So then I went and just deep dived into everything he ever did. And then I started doing that with like people that I recognized their names because I'd heard them around, or you kind of take little things when you're a kid. And then I just started deep diving into them all, and, finding what was really kind of resonating for me. So I was like school myself.
That's awesome. Have you ever met Stevie?
I have. I have met
Can you
Stevie.
tell us about that?
Yeah, I met him, I think, just one time. We were at like a club or the end of an event, like a after party or something like that, and he was sitting with India Arie, they're homies, and she was like gonna introduce us, and she did introduce him. She whispered something in his ear. I don't know what she said. And then he reached out his hand, and I shook his hand, and his hand was like the softest, most like puffy, soft marshmallow hand, like a firm handshake, but his palm was so soft. And that was like the big memory for me. And walking away going, that wasn't really how I would have wanted to meet him. And also, what did she say? I'm sure she said whatever nice, but it wasn't like weird, but I was like, "Oh, okay. Okay." I mean, for the amount of influence and how he lived in my bedroom and in my living room and in my car and for so many years, and I drove to his shows on my own, like alone at like, 16, and would just go and like Um, I just I had imagined meeting him in a way where we could have really had a conversation. So I'm not disappointed I met him, but that was kind of my like, wah, wah. Like it's good to meet your heroes, but it doesn't always live up to your imagination. Do you know what I mean? I gotta meet him, and I gotta feel his hands, and damn, they were soft.
Stevie. All right, we'll note that Stevie Wonder has soft hands. No, it's funny. I wasn't planning on talking about Stevie, but it's interesting. We've done a few interviews now, and Stevie comes up a lot when we have other people on because he's such a huge force in music, and he matters so much to people. The people that listen to this all the time are going to get tired of me telling this story, but Stevie Wonder was a huge part of my childhood. He was big because my mom loved him, and so I listened to all the same albums. I've made the argument that Songs in the Key of Life is maybe the greatest album of all time.
Mhm.
Um, and my mother had this rule when I was a kid. I had some things in my childhood that I was struggling with, and I just wasn't happy all the time. And so my mom, to counteract that, made this rule that anytime Stevie Wonder played, we had to dance.
I love
And so I
her.
have these yes, exactly. So I have these stories of like me and my mother in front of coffee shops and they're playing Stevie Wonder on the
Oh,
speakers
that makes me wanna
outside and I'm
cry.
like,
That's so sweet.
yeah. And
Is she
so
still around?
yeah, absolutely. She's
Oh,
I'm living in her house right now as
oh,
I
your
like go through a
mom's
little bit of a transition.
awesome. I love her. Well, I
Yes,
love that. That's
as do
amazing.
I.
So no matter where you are, you had to like break into dance with your mom.
Yep. It's like, mom, we got to dance. And like, you know, I think that rule backfired on her a little bit because then I made her dance in public places in like a very embarrassing way. And I was like, this is your rule. Like,
Yeah,
this is,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, I think
yeah.
she meant for it to be in the house, but
Uh,
I took it everywhere we went.
everywhere.
So,
Ah, that's so
yeah,
cool. I love that.
yeah.
That's so cool.
So no, Stevie holds a special place in all of our hearts. So that's
Yes,
very
he does.
cool. Um, I want to ask you a little bit. So I read a story that you sang on the White House lawn with Frank Sinatra when you were like 9 or 10 years old.
Mhm. Isn't that crazy?
How did that come about?
Well, Nancy Reagan, so Reagan was president. Nancy Reagan had a foundation that was like foster grandparents, so you know, you could foster grandchildren, I guess. Um and Frank was really good friends with Nancy and Ronald Reagan. And so they asked him, you know, I don't know, they were like, okay, you're gonna sing the theme song of this foundation and na na na, and then it became like a single. And then I had had success in Europe, and I was, you know, a kid who could sing. And so, and also, you know, my dad was working with Frank, and so it just made sense. Well, you know, you're gonna have a kid sing on this single with you to kind of, you know, create the whole picture of this foundation. And then we end up singing the song, yeah, on the White House lawn. And we recorded it, and then we went to sing it there. And I slid down the banister because I'm so naughty. Slid down the banister in the White House backwards.
Hell
I
yeah.
mean, you have to. And and there was like a band, like the military band. I don't know what that band was, but you know, they were the White House band or whatever. They were all in these little outfits. Um, and yeah, I mean, you know, it was trippy. I thought, you know, Nancy Reagan was really nice to me. I think I was like 8. Um,
Wow.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
I know.
Not many people have a story like that.
I mean, I mean, it was a long, it was a long time ago, but B, you know, it's very, uh, it's, you know, it's like, I don't know, you telling stories about when you were 8 or 6. It's like, it feels like chapters and chapters away from where you are now and who you are now. But you know, it forms you and it's relevant and all that stuff. But it's, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Did you were you the type of kid that did you ever envision yourself doing anything else? Like, did you ever think to yourself one day I'll be a lawyer or a doctor, or
No.
was it always music for you?
It was always music for me when in high school and senior year, when all of my friends were talking about college and I kind of sat with myself for a minute, and I was like, so I guess now's the time where I would think about these things because I'm graduating high school. And, you know, okay, so if I went to college, what would I want to do, or what else would I want to do? And it was literally like a 30-second conversation with myself. And it was like, well, no, because you're already doing what you want to do. So just keep doing it. And uh, yeah, so I got stuck with it.
That's a good thing to get stuck with, though. I
Yeah.
admire people who know what they want to do at a very early age. Um, I think there's a level of intelligence that goes with that. I think, you know, I myself included, I know so many people that went to college having no idea
Yeah.
what they wanted to do with their lives,
Yeah.
and they were there because they knew that the answer lied somewhere in there,
Yeah.
right? Like
Mhm.
they could probably find the answer at
Yeah.
college,
It's like a
but they
time of
weren't totally sure
searching.
what the answer was when they got there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with the search. so many people have to do it. I think it's super rare to know already what you want to do, and also to be already doing it and then to be able to kind of continue doing it. It's very unique. I mean, I have a teenage daughter who is her first year in college, so I totally know what you're talking about, and my husband also knew what he wanted to do in like the first years of high school. He was like, I want to be a producer and I want to, and be a musician and that. And so we both came from the we know. Um, and I think my daughter knows it's something artistic, but she's so good at so many things and she doesn't have the complete super, super focus of the exact thing. So she's even in the search. And it's just interesting because you have to kind of let that play out, and I think
Yeah,
it's good to do that when you're young, just like try all the different things. Never know.
for sure.
Mm.
Yeah. When you started out in music, did it start with singing? Did it start with instruments? Like, how did you kind of start to first dip your toe in that water?
Definitely singing. Um and performing weird. Like I was the just annoying child at the dinner who would be like, "Dad, I want to perform for your friends." And like it's not like I had songs. I just made them up as I went along and I was like 3. And I would just stand up on the we used to have these low low mantles like for the fireplace. They like in the 70s it was this like cool shelf thing.
Yep.
And I used to go up on there and just do a little perform and like make up songs on the top of my head about who knows what. And then, they would, you know, listen to me for as long as I don't know, as long as they could stand it.
Yeah.
And then that was it. The party went on. But that was really, I mean, early days, and that was definitely it. And then I didn't get into playing instruments, and I still don't play very well at all. I just play enough to like clobber through and kind of string chords together to write songs. But that was way later, like you know, early 20s or something. Yeah.
You talked a little bit about performing, like wanting to perform at an early age. I don't know if you saw it, but we had Sally Green
Hmm.
on our
Hmm.
podcast. And we asked Sally who she modeled her stage performance game after. And without any hesitation, she said you.
Ah.
Like she was like yeah, she was like Nikka. Like Nikka is the one that when I first started performing live on stage, like I wanted to resemble her.
Right.
Where did that confidence come from for you? Like you seem to have a stage presence that people really respect. So where did you get that confidence from?
I mean, I've been on stage since I was 7. So I've had some time, but when I was in my early 20s and I put my own band together and I was singing my own songs that I'd written, and I was living in Australia, and Australia is especially back then, it was really known for its scene live music scene. And they're a tough audience because they would go out to gigs all the time. And this was in the early 90s. Um, and so they had a really great funk scene in Sydney at that time. And lots of clubs, lots of pubs. You could play almost like every night. And you had to really work because they didn't care. They were ready to not like you. And so I learned a lot there, and I learned a lot touring there, in Australia, funnily enough. And then as my records kind of took off and I came to America, and then I just really wanted to be really good at it. I wanted, and at first I was really good, like going for it and losing myself and everything. But oh my God, if I had to tell a story or like talk, that was where it was, like, awkward. And now I kinda got that, over the years, and, like, I had some great advice, thrown at me here and there and over the years, and just yeah, just practicing and honing, and I hope that it is a skill that gets passed down, to artists today. Yeah, I hope it matters to them what how their audiences feel when they leave their show. Um, because it's such an honor to have people come to your show. And so don't just fucking stand there. Like, give them a show, you know? Deserve their ticket. It's not all about you. Yeah. I get really passionate about it.
Yeah, no, I that's great because it's wonderful that you say that. Um, Me and my friends talk a lot about we talk about a lot about live shows, and they're so expensive now.
Beyond.
And and so when you go to a live show and it feels like the artist doesn't care about the quality of the show, it's you've lost a fan in me. Like I will
100%.
never like I'm not listening to your music anymore. I'm out. And there are so many artists now that it feels like they just they don't have a stage presence. And not only do they not have a stage presence, but it doesn't look like they're trying to have a stage
Yeah.
presence. And that's really
Well,
disappointing.
I think that they don't understand the value of that part of being an artist, you know? So, and they don't have the practice. You can't just go from your bedroom and go viral and then expect to know how to do a whole show on stage, but yet that's, what they're expected to do. So there's a huge gap of learning that and realizing that that's important, but yeah, I mean, if anyone talks to me about it, if any artist asks me or anything, I'm always happy to kind of, because people taught me, people told me. So it's just about the elders passing it down. And also the
Well, sticking
youngers, I don't know what's the opposite of the elders, the youngers?
the the youngins, I don't know. I don't know what
The
you would call
youngins.
them.
Yeah, that wanting being open to learning, wanting to be better, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, sticking with that, if someone came to you and asked, "Hey, I like let's use the example that you used. Hey, I made a song and I went viral and now I'm being booked for shows and someone is expecting me to perform for let's say 30 minutes." What would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
I mean, it depends on how much time we had. If I thought they were really talented and they were really like really asking, I would say, do you have an hour and I'll sit with you and let's go through your set. Like, what are you going to play and what's your band and what do you want what do you want your audience to feel when they leave? How do you want them to feel? What kind of experience do you want to give them? And who are you as an artist? Like, we know what your songs are, we know, but who are you and how are they going to feel you? How are they going to know you better after you just sing these songs? Are you just going to sing at them? Do you know, like, and also there's like little things that endear an audience, like then you're feel connected, like the humanity stuff, like even if you mess up, audiences love that. Do you know what I mean? Because it makes you human. It's just that's why I'm not really worried about AI in the live setting, because it won't be the same, you know?
Hmm.
Humans need to see other humans putting themselves out there and going, "Oh shit, I can't do that," or "I can do that," or, so
Yeah, you touched on it a little bit. A question I wanted to ask. So we talk all the time on our show about how music and art in general is supposed to make you feel something.
mm.
Um, that's at least to me, like that's kind of the purpose of it is to try to create something that evokes a certain type of an emotion out of another human being. What do you want people to feel when they hear your music or when they come to one of your shows?
I mean, honestly, I want them to run the gamut of emotion. I want them to forget. I want them to check all their shit at the door, dancing and letting their hair down and letting just being themselves and being like totally supported in that vibe. And I mean, it sounds so cliche, like leave your troubles at the door. Remember, but I mean, especially now, and inevitably that they feel so kind of moved in whatever way, whether it's, if my string show is a lot more like ballads and whatever, and, people like cry. They get a chance to like express themselves also. Or, my, kind of funk shows, like people are dancing their asses off and we're all like sweating at the end. Um, that's that, and then they go home and they tell their friend, and then they get to bring their friend next time, and it's like, "This is so great, you're gonna feel amazing." That's what I want. I want everyone to feel amazing.
Yeah. No, you're so right though. You spoke on how you're not worried about this AI generation, and I'm with you. I think what I love about going to concerts is everyone at the show is getting to experience this thing that's only going to exist once, right? That particular show is only going to happen one time. You're
Yeah.
only going to get all of those emotions are only going to happen once, and AI won't be able to replace that. It won't be able to
Mm.
replace that feeling.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're forced to be in the present. Yeah, I love that.
Yes, that's a really good way of putting it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
because we don't have to be present as much anymore,
Mhm.
unfortunately, with the way that life is lived.
Yeah.
Yeah, so with a concert, like I don't like taking out my phone at a concert and taking pictures. I don't like
I
recording.
mean, it's
I
never
don't
the
like
same
even taking out
anyway. It never looks the same, it never
no,
sounds the
and
same. Yeah, yeah.
no, and who am I going to share that video with of like a not as good of a quality video of this show with? Like
Yeah.
who's interested in that? Like, if you wanted to experience it, you should have came. If not, you'll catch the next one, I guess.
Yeah, and I also
Um,
love
s-
the communal experience. So, like, you get it in movie theaters too, but, like, just that we're all in this moment, in this
yeah.
space and time, for this hour or 2. Like, you're in it, you're in it, you're in it. I don't know you, but you wanted to come here too, just like me, and, like, yeah, I love that. So cool.
Do you have any and you've performed with some of the most famous people in the world and I'm sure you've been to hundreds of shows, if not thousands, but are there any performers that stuck out to you that you got to see live that gave you a feeling that you almost can't even describe?
I mean, yeah, well, obviously, Prince above all performers, just always excelled at the whole thing. The whole thing. The performance, the songs, the playing, I mean, it was just he was really he was a real, you know, like a icon, like for no, unmatched. Who else do I love? I loved I mean, when I took my husband as an adult to see Frank Sinatra, who I'd seen a bunch of times, it was really cool to watch him as an adult. He was a real master of storytelling and holding an audience. It was crazy. He did this like 20-minute song that was so fucking rad. And we were just like, we were transfixed. It was nuts. We didn't never heard the song before, but we were just like, wow. And then what happened? And then what happened? And how he just like said it and did it. And then it was so freaking cool. Um, who else? I mean, Radiohead is so great. Like their light show. Some people have different things. Like different things that are kind of mind blowing. Trying to think of who else. I mean, Aretha Franklin, we saw at the House of Blues.
Ooh.
She had a tambourine. She had a tambourine player woman who
Mhm.
wasn't a backup singer who played tambourine. No, no. She was just a tambourine player. And she sat there and she had her purse next to her. And she sat there, and when she played the fucking tambourine, it was so good. So good. Her groove was so good. And she was just sitting there, just like, it was so amazing. And the whole time we thought Aretha's boobs were going to come flying out because she had this, like, we were upstairs and she had this top on that had like the tiniest little spaghetti strap all the way down. And then, like, this dress that was like, it was so crazy. And we were just like, mesmerized, waiting for something to collapse. But man, she was so good, still so good. Yeah, that was special. Yeah,
My friends and I recorded a podcast last week, and the subject matter was artists that we would have paid to see that are no longer
yeah.
living. And I talked a little bit about Aretha. I ended up picking Whitney Houston.
Okay.
I would have loved to see her perform
Yeah.
live, but Aretha's somebody that we've talked about on this podcast a lot.
Mhm.
Again, my mother is very into the podcast, and she sends me
I
notes,
bet.
sends me sends me emails with like different artists that I need to think
No,
about.
I love her.
And she's a big, yeah, she's a big Aretha fan. So we've talked about her a lot and have like a super deep appreciation for
I
her.
mean,
Um, it,
she's the greatest.
yeah,
Like,
she's one of one.
yeah, 100%. So influential and just so talk about being present, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm just curious more about Prince a little bit more. How did you meet him? How did you become kind of in his orbit?
Well, Everybody Got Their Something came out, and, actually 25 years ago this year, so it has a little birthday.
Nice.
Yeah, and then we got an email, my management got an email from an undisclosed email that literally just said, "Nika, come to the park and play with us." And that was it. And then, some digging and na 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 na, na, and then I was being invited by the well, I don't know, Prince or his people or whatever to play at his birthday celebration at Paisley. And that ended up happening, and I didn't expect to meet him. I just thought he was like the Wizard of Oz, where he's just like behind the curtain, like.
Yeah.
And he showed up at our sound check at Paisley. And when you walk into Paisley, well, back then you walk in Paisley and all his outfits from every video you've ever seen are hanging up from the rafters. They're like just hanging there, and there was all kinds of, rules and things that you had to abide by and everything. And then I was like looking up and looking, I'm just talking shit with the band and then um, and then I looked down and he's just like, boom, standing right there. And, I was like, "Oh my god, holy shit." And then he took me off into Paisley and showed me all around, just him and I. And I got to ask him all the questions that, I never thought I'd probably see him again. I just wanted to ask him all the things like, do you really dock people's pay if they mess up? And, being a fellow band leader, you know, so we
Yeah.
all have these, there's all these stories that fly around, with musicians like, oh, he does this and he does that. So I was asking him all these things, and he just thought I was just batshit, you know, ballsy little girl, like, big mouth. And I think he thought I was funny, and, and we became really good friends, and he mentored me for like 15 years. I mean, he had me on tour and he had me in the studio and he came on my sessions, and, it was really, I mean, crazy special. Yeah.
It's beautiful to hear stories about him. We had Jay Davy on our show. I'm not sure if you know her,
Yeah.
but she also,
Mm.
okay, yeah, she also got to know Prince and spoke glowingly about him and her experience with him, and
Yeah.
just like had nothing but wonderful things to say about him and the way she, and I don't want to misquote her, but she said something about it was such an honor to be in his orbit,
Yeah.
and the people that were in that orbit were all treated so well, and there was just such a level of respect within the people that he brought around him.
Yeah, I mean, he was just a musician at heart, and I think he just really loved being around other musicians. That was he really like, and he wanted to help people that he felt that he could help in whatever way. He was very generous with me with musicians, very supportive, and yeah, you know, he was a dude.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. How did your song? How did everybody got that something end up in Coach Carter.
Isn't that funny? I think we were just watching it recently, and it is in there. I have no
I
idea.
think that's probably the first time I heard your music.
Really? Oh my God, help me.
I would imagine because I was young when that movie came out. Like I
Yeah,
remember going to see that movie in theaters,
yeah.
and when I started going back and listening to your music, I was like, oh, okay,
That's
this
awesome,
is where I
Coach
probably
Carter.
first heard her.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I mean, that song is my unicorn. That song's been in a lot of TV, a lot of movies. Thank you, Lord. And uh, you never know where how a song is gonna live in the universe. And so how I don't know how it got on Coach Carter, probably, but probably not that exciting. Probably, that music supervisor was a fan or liked that song for that scene. It was like,
yeah.
you know? Yeah. But it's funny because now
Well,
I can't
well,
really remember all the things. And now we'll be showing, like my son's 12. It's like that movie's on Netflix now, right? So now we're like watching,
yeah,
and he loves basketball and things. So we're watching, is it basketball team, right? Is it basketball?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
yeah. It's a basketball
yeah,
movie.
yeah, 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 yeah. So I know I recently he was like, "How did your song get on the thing?" And I'm like, "I mean, they just called me."
All right,
Okay.
song of the week. I know you. I know you've got to go. So I've got a song of the week, and it is one of your songs,
Okay.
and it's just love off of your most recent album, Dirty Disco.
Hey, you know
Yeah,
what's funny?
I love that song.
Thank you. That is the song that when you said, "Oh, I get to pick a song," that was the song.
Oh, I love it. I love it. We both love that song.
Oh, that's funny. Um,
I love it. I love it.
yeah. Uh, I love that you love that song. Thank you. That song is so meaningful to me. So it's on the Dirty Disco record, so my last record that came out last year. And funnily enough, it started as a ballad. So I have I just had an experience that just hit really close to home, and I was so uh I know that, I mean, it's basically about, two kind of the homophobic community, whoever, but that, I had a friend who was just like not being accepted by their family for whoever who they wanted to love. And there was literally, it was just so awful to me. It was so uh it was so excluding, um and really for what? For nothing, for nothing. There was no, and I know that this happens. I know that it's been happening. I know it's an age old problem, but because it was right in my face and I could see it happening on a day-to-day basis, I was just really kind of like moved to write about it. So I sat at the piano and I wrote the chorus as a ballad. And then we went in and I had some verses and we kind of like, and we made it as a ballad, but it like wasn't landing. So sometimes songs, it was done, it was kind of recorded and it was like, yeah. And I was like, maybe the bass is wrong or maybe the guitar part's not right or something. It just wasn't landing. And then we were in the studio, Justin and I, we were trying to, listening through stuff, and I went to the bathroom and I was just like, love, don't make it a big deal. And I was like fast and I just started singing the whole song like in that, like as it is now. And I came out and I was like, babe, I was like, don't kill me, but I think we need to re-record It's Just Love and it needs to go like this. Bam. And I just sang the whole thing down in that way, at that tempo and at that like, and and I love that song, and I I feel so good when I sing it, and I feel like it's really important to have songs out there like that. So
to me, it's a reminder of how fun love can be.
Mhm.
Like, it's not and it's funny that you say it was supposed to be a ballad, because I literally wrote down, like, sometimes love songs can be really slow and overly romanticized,
Right,
and this song literally reminds you of how fun and happy of a feeling love is. And so
right.
I really like the song because of that. So that's really
Isn't that
cool
hilarious?
that yeah, that's
Yeah, and
awesome.
like
Um
and that it's the second line in the chorus is, "Don't make it a big deal." So, love, don't make it a
yeah.
big deal. Love, don't make it a big deal. Now I can't remember the words. But anyway, it's that. Like, don't take it
That's
so
a
fucking
that's a
seriously.
beautiful
Get over
song.
yourself, and it's just love, dude. Chill. Like,
For
you know,
sure.
that's my thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love Satellite Girl. I really liked that.
Yeah, Satellite Girl,
Yeah.
Satellite Girl, we wrote at the kitchen table, me and Kaveh Rajastar on guitar. And, my daughter was in high school and she's going through all the things. And all her friends would sit around the kitchen table and they're all going through all the things, like, trying to figure out who they are. And I don't know, relationship stuff, parent stuff, friend stuff. It's all happening, it's all on like high 100% go at that age. So I was just really in it. Yeah. And it was just kind of, you know, it's really about Sugar and her friends. And it reminded me of me when I was their age, and not really knowing totally who I was, but like having a sense of it and trying to hold on to that sense, like your integrity, I think, um, while you're
Yeah.
navigating, all the stuff that's coming at you to like teach you lessons and whatever. It's just kind of a
Yeah.
crazy time in life. So, yeah, what is it? You don't have to try so hard. Now, every time I have to remember words, they go. If it's playing like at a gig, I got it. I got it. But now I'm like, oh, how does that fucking go? Anyway, but yeah, that's a great one. And then we had Greg Fillinganes come in, and he played on Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder. And I mean, he's a legend.
Okay.
And he came in and he loved it. And we had him to play keyboards, and then he was like, "Oh, can I take this song home?" And I just want to like mess around with some stuff. And we were like, "Okay." So he took it home, and then he sent it back because he was so inspired, and he added like that super dope horn part at the end. And it just like, to me, it's just like, oh, yes. At the end, I love it when those horns come in. It's like so satisfying. So that was a cool
Yeah.
surprise. That's it. That's it. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah. Thanks.
Well, Nikka, I appreciate you taking some time to sit down and talk music with me. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Aw.
Um,
You gotta say
this
hi to your
yeah,
mom
this
for
was a
me.
lot
I
of
think
fun.
we might have been friends.
Yeah, she would love you. And
Yeah.
she is listening. She she will be sitting at the kitchen table, taking notes and smiling, listening to this. So,
What's her name?
um,
Her
Valerie,
What is it? Valerie. Hi,
Valerie,
Valerie.
yeah. Hi, mom. um, well, I know you've got to go, and so I'll let you get out of here. But thank you so much for
Oh, my
taking the time.
pleasure.
This means so much to us. I had a lot of fun with
Yeah,
this.
me too. Awesome. Yeah, see you when I'm in your neck of the woods, unless it's snowing, in which case
Yeah.
I'm gonna try not to come.
Well, I'll come to California. Don't come here. It's too
Okay.
cold. I'll come to
Cool.
California and come see you perform. I will let you know the next time I'm in town for
Nice,
sure.
nice.
So,
Cool, man.
well,
Well, thank you
all
for
right.
having me.
Well,
This was super fun.
of course, and thank you to everybody for listening, watching. However you guys get our content, we appreciate it. This is Song of the Week. Until next week, we'll see you.
See
Peace.
ya.